This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. I just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? God damn it. Use your freaking words and start talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk?
We thank God that the person that took Charlie Kirk's life was not black. Lord, can you imagine what would have happened if the person that took Charlie Kirk's life was black? They would have burnt black people to a crisp.
The governor of Utah was visibly upset and on the verge of tears today during a press conference after he found out that the person who allegedly unalived Charlie Kirk was not an immigrant. Check out this video.
I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped.
What a strange thing to say. So he was praying that it was an immigrant and not one of them. This is of course coming in after the person who allegedly unalived Charlie Kirk was captured. He was actually turned in by his own family. They really wanted it to be an immigrant. And as you can very clearly tell, he's not an immigrant, he's not Hispanic, he's not Latino, he's not brown, he's not indigenous. He is a homegrown European American.
I'm gonna read this post that someone very close to me and my family sent to me and referred to it as, quote, the absolute unadulterated truth. Not an opinion, mind you, referring to this as the absolute unadulterated truth. And this is a Facebook post by Todd Starnes. All right, here we go. Quote, over the past decades, Democrats have dehumanized conservatives. It started with Obama calling us bitter Americans who cling to our guns and our religion. It was Hillary Clinton calling us an irredeemable basket of deplorables. It was Joe Biden calling us the dregs of society. It was Maxine Waters telling them to absolutely harass us in restaurants and grocery stores. They called us Nazis and Hitler. They called us homophobes and bigots and racists and xenophobes. They tried to assassinate President Trump not once, but twice. Make no mistake, there is a war on conservatives and they are hunting MAGA. When Republicans asked for prayer in the House chamber, Democrats screamed no. Evil personified. I hold them all responsible for what happened today.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist.
Because of DEI, it begs the question when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
This man wasn't just a conservative talking head. He called the Civil Rights Act a mistake. He said Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was nothing more than a DEI hire. He smeared Dr. King, mocked black professionals, stoked fear of immigrants, and spent every breath turning white grievance into a brand. That's not political disagreement. That's a career built on stripping dignity away from entire groups of people. And here's the thing, right? The second he's gone, suddenly people want compassion. Suddenly it's about his family, his humanity, his legacy. Where was that energy when he was tearing ours down? When he was spitting on the humanity of black people, Latinos, immigrants, queer folks? We're supposed to forget the damage because the man is dead? Death doesn't erase the harm. Death doesn't clean a record. And let's not pretend that that shot was sloppy rage. It was too clean. It was too sharp. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. And the irony is that Charlie worshiped that same culture of guns and violence. He fed it. He amplified it. And it came back for him. That's not karma. That's America. So no, I'm not going to rewrite his story into something soft. The only sympathy that I have is for his children, because they didn't ask for his poison. But for Charlie Kirk, he made it his life's mission to divide, belittle, and dehumanize. And that's exactly how history should remember him.
I want to be very clear. I do not show empathy for someone who asked us to not show empathy for others, who's shown no empathy for others, who in fact was quoted saying that he believed empathy was a new age term, weakening America. He also said that Islam was slitting the throat of Americans. I'm not going to show empathy for that at all. That man has made me afraid to wear my hijab, and I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't be nervous. That man has made me afraid being who I am and blamed others for the problems that are happening in America. No, I will not show empathy. I feel sorry for his kids, absolutely. But if you guys thought that video was bad of his death, gosh, I'm so glad they do not release the videos of the school shootings.
No, for me personally, I didn't care about Charlie Kirk yesterday, the day before, and I don't care about him now. I don't mourn and I don't celebrate. That's strategic indifference. And I don't respect anyone who tries to tell me that I'm supposed to grieve. And I don't respect anyone who tells me that I'm supposed to be happy. What is he to me or me to him? He certainly isn't more important to me than the most likely hundreds of thousands of my brothers and sisters that you cut down in Gaza. You didn't mourn any of them, and I didn't tell you to, because I already know how you are. I already know that your performance of mourning over Charlie Kirk has nothing whatsoever to do with respect for human life. He was just a vessel for an ideology that you hold sacred. And it's an ideology that dehumanizes people. It's an ideology that disregards the sanctity of life. And we've seen that on full display for the last 2 years. So no, obviously not. I'm not the least bit interested in accommodating your weaponization of selective compassion and selective sympathy. Now, if you want to paint my indifference, if you want to spin my indifference as if it is approval of the crime that was committed, well, okay, I already know that you never do anything but lie anyway. And I know that you are from exactly the same manipulated, mutated, mutilated, and maladjusted population that created the demand that the power structure met by giving you Charlie Kirk, and that gave you his killer. Meaning you're just part of that mob in America. That same collective monster that's responsible for the American genocide of the indigenous people. That's responsible for genocides in Guatemala, genocides in Bangladesh, in Iraq, in Cambodia, in East Timor, in West Papua, and in Gaza. And you're the same collective monster that's responsible for every atrocity, every heinous crime that your country has ever committed. As far as I'm concerned, you poisoned Charlie Kirk's mind before he could even have a chance at a decent life, a moral life. And you poisoned the mind of the one who took the life that Charlie Kirk had. So spare me your counterfeit moralizing.
Maybe it's because I come from a place with consequences, but I ain't shocked by the Charlie Kirk shit at all. Where I'm from, right or wrong, if you do things that negatively impact other people's lives, there's a chance that could cost you your life. Like, say you put hands on your old lady. She goes back to her parents' house, beaten and bloody, and then her little brother sees it, decides he's had enough. He goes over to that house and he puts 3 in your chest. Ultimately, he's dead because the little brother decided to pull the trigger, but we're going to act like the hillbilly didn't have no part to play in that? Or maybe it's because I'm on the side that has historically had all of the consequences heaped upon them. Like, we're the ones who always get assassinated. Harry T. Moore, Medgar Evers, Huey Long, Harvey Milk, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, the list goes on. None of them wanted to die. And to be sure, they died because someone came and pulled the trigger. They didn't make that decision. But we're going to act like that decision wasn't visited upon them because they decided to challenge the status quo, because they decided to negatively impact the ruling class? Now I've got a situation where I have an individual who has spent the last decade trying to strip the humanity away from everybody that he deemed lesser, out here impacting the lives of thousands, if not millions of people negatively, and I'm supposed to pretend like there are going to be no consequences. Again, whenever you do the type of things that impact, you don't know how you're impacting people's lives. You have no idea what your words or how they will affect somebody. We recognize this as leftists. I understand there's going to be people who don't like the shit that I have to say. It's cops right now who would love to put me in a bag. I get that. I go do it anyway because I believe that what I'm talking is worth dying for. I hope that Charlie Kirk feels the same, because whenever you get out here and you do the type of things that impact people negatively, you need to expect that those people you negatively impact are going to come visit consequences upon you. For right or wrong, it doesn't matter. In my world, that's the reality, and you should expect that it's going to come whether it does or not. I expect my retribution to come from the ruling class. Charlie Kirk is going to have to look out for it from every minority group that he's ever demonized.
Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a black pilot, would assume they were a DEI hire. To my white brothers and sisters, I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration of his life? Not to his death, but to the celebration of his life.
Rhetoric that incites violence. Please stand with me in reflection and prayer in his honor, and I yield the rest of my time for a moment of silence.
Herr Kollege Reimers, wir haben abgesprochen, Sie wissen, die Präsidentin hat eine Schweigeminute abgelehnt. Wir fahren weiter fort. Wir kommen zum Bericht von Herrn Kirk. Keine Schweigeminute abgelehnt. Der Bericht von Herrn zur Zusammenarbeit zwischen
Shut up!
Abstimmung Eintritt in die
Normally when someone dies suddenly, even critics will pause, show respect, maybe separate the person from the politics. But here, a lot of people, especially black voices online, are saying flat out no. No sympathy, and that says a lot. Why? Because for years, Charlie Kirk built his brand on division, on targeting minorities, immigrants, and marginalized groups. To many, he wasn't just a conservative activist, he was the face of hate. So now, when the news of his assassination breaks, people who were on the receiving end of that rhetoric feel zero obligation to mourn. They're not celebrating his death, but they're refusing to pretend grief for someone who spent his career denying their dignity. Look at the EU Parliament moment. Usually politicians love these symbolic gestures. But even there, when someone tried to call for another minute of silence, the chair basically shut it down. We already did one. Moving on. And that's really unusual. It shows that even in official spaces, there's not this overwhelming rush to glorify the man. So here's a key takeaway. Legacy matters. You don't get to spend your life spreading poison and then demand roses at your funeral. Respect isn't automatic. It's earned. Sympathy isn't automatic. It's earned. And if your whole platform was built on targeting others, don't be surprised when those same people have nothing kind to say when you're gone. It's not just being cold, but it's just the reality. Or maybe it's a reminder to all of us that what we stand for while we are alive shapes how we'll be remembered when we're gone. What do you guys think about this issue? Is everyone, no matter how evil they've been, deserving of sympathy when something terrible happens to them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.